So verses 41 through 46 give us a very clear, straightforward map, instructional guidelines for how we should be using power. Each of us wields power. It might be through our church callings, our professional capacities, among our peers, with our family, with our children. So, let's go through this list of how we should wield power. We must use power through persuasion, long-suffering, gentleness, meekness, love unfeigned, kindness, pure knowledge. I see today how destructive it is when power is combined with false information, misinformation. Reproving betimes with sharpness, with the bowels, that term bowels, again, the bowels of charity towards all men, and with virtue garnishing our thoughts unceasingly. So I actually think it's kind of interesting to do this exercise. Complete these sentences to create your own creed of power. I will use power in what manner? And I will use power to do what? What is on your creed for how to use power? I will use power to unify and not divide. I will use power to alleviate suffering. I will use power to demand justice. I will use power with courage. What else is on your creed? I think that if you are grounded in these scriptural verses, you can have an incredible creed, guidelines for yourself as to how you will use your influence, being influenced by God himself. So we get these promises. If this is the way that we wield power and influence, thy confidence shall wax strong in the presence of God. The doctrine of the priesthood shall distill upon thy soul as the dews from heaven. Now, a lot of our scriptures come from the ancient Near East, where the dews from heaven were a major source of water, especially in the summer months. The Holy Ghost shall be thy constant companion. Thy dominion shall be an everlasting dominion, and without compulsory means it shall flow unto thee forever and ever. So there's a reference to scepter in these verses. Thy scepter shall be an unchanging scepter. And it reminds me of my favorite Shakespeare play, The Merchant of Venice. It's a speech that's kind of referred to as the Quality of Mercy speech. So in this play, a Jewish moneylender named Shylock has been wronged repeatedly by his Christian neighbors. And at some point, one of them needs to borrow money from him. And so they enter into a contract, almost lightheartedly, that if the loan isn't repaid by a certain date, in 3 months' time, that Shylock can receive a pound of flesh, demand a pound of flesh from the one he is lending the money to. Well, no one expects this to happen, but it does. And in the intervening period, more and more injustices have been added to Shylock. His daughter has run off with the friend, eloped with the friend of the Christian that he's lended money to. And as she left, she took with her the ring of her dead mother and sold it for a monkey. So Shylock is hurt. Shylock, at the time that the bond comes due, wants justice. He wants his pound of flesh, and he wants it from the heart. Talk about your inner parts. Talk about, there's no bowels of mercy here. So beautiful speech is given to him by a woman disguised as a learned judge. Portia says that in the course of justice, none of us shall see salvation. Instead, she urges him to think about the qualities of mercy and power. The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesses him that gives and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than the crowned. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptred sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute of God himself. And earthly power doth then show likest God's, when mercy seasons justice. So on this day when we've talked about the bowels of mercy, if we can exercise power in the way that God does, with the bowels of mercy, and as instructed in D&C 121, our power will flow with that mercy and with justice.